Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy? Darling? Light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
But no, I'm okay with it because finally this year I feel like the corporations have gotten like lazier because normally they go all fucking gung ho about like back to school and like Labor Day or whatever, but they did Halloween this year super early. And I don't know if you noticed that, but like I've been seeing the Halloween decorations came in August and they almost never, they come like mid-September usually.
Well, dude, right, mid-September. We're going to Orlando, or Hollywood Studios, Orlando, and they do a thing called Halloween Horror Nights, HHN, and that's already started.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That happens now, and then we're going on Halloween night. Baby.
That's awesome,
dude.
I'm excited because I'm like, if they start treating Halloween the same way with the same reverence as they do Christmas by starting that shit almost 2 fucking months early, that's okay.
Dude, your kids are probably going to see, like, Halloween be the dominating, like, it'll be like people will hand out, like, presents instead of candy or some shit.
I hope so.
You'll see it, you'll see it be
My wife
bonkers.
She's a Christmas lady, though. So.
You're a wife? Dude, you know what one of the Halloweens are? So there's, like, 10 haunted houses at Universal Studios.
Uh-huh.
And one of them is Halloween, like,
cool.
themed for the movie, and then the other one is like Universal Monsters.
That's dope.
The big old school,
like Wolfman,
original
Dracula and shit.
Yeah.
The Mummy,
Invisible or not? Yeah, Mummy. I don't know if Invisible Man, and Creature of the Black Lagoon. I can't remember if they're there, but it's Dracula's. And that, dude, it's so cool. And then there's some other ones that like Spooky Haunted Bog and like some like run down like mutant subway. I'm pretty excited, man.
We're gonna have to talk about it some more because it sounds.
I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna watch 30 movies in October.
We're gonna have to do something different. So this is the Coldest Set of Knowledge podcast.
Oh hey,
I'm Levi. That's Jordan. We spent the beginning talking about Halloween as if this is a Halloween episode. It's not.
It's not. Yeah, we're like literally the farthest thing away from Halloween.
It's Halloween's like 2 months away.
Yeah. No, yeah, but in this film has nothing to do with Halloween.
There's literally the horrors of everyday monotony, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, is the closest you can get. I can see some people seeing this as a horror movie in some ways.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it is. I'll tell you about it a little later. But what are we watching?
We of course are talking about 1999's Office Space. I almost said Judd Apatow. Mike Judge.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I don't know why they're two names. Like, I think it's the Judge and the Judd.
Yeah, the Judd.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mike
Space.
Mike Judge is a little more superior in what he creates, but
I agree. Yeah. I agree. He swings, and he's got like a little bit more thought put into it. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
But
he's just super abstract. Like,
so. This movie, so what's the fucking genre? We're still a 90-minute
yeah,
movie.
we're still a 90-minute.
This is the last 90-minute movie, though. And this movie, it feels good. It's like a tight, small, like, I forgot how much I enjoyed it just as a movie. Like, not even, like, as a comedy.
Well,
but it is funny.
I think all these 90-minute movies, the connecting factor, they are tight. They flow really well.
Yeah.
And it's a super simple story that never gets in the way of itself.
Yeah,
it just moves.
Most 90-minute movies have to be clean and tight and short, and then some of them should have been a short film that they dragged out to 90 minutes. But luckily, I don't think we watched any of those.
this one, ironically, would be the closest thing to that for the fact that it originated from a short. So it's like,
yeah, exactly.
You know.
So for those of you that have not seen Office Space, though I feel like a lot of you probably have, those of you not seen it, is it my week to do a synopsis? 'Cause
It sure is, Buckaroo.
I did not do one. I'm awful. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get better. I promise. I because of this movie, I quit my job. So of 10 years. So,
yeah, you really did.
So I'm gonna probably start writing synopsis, but I'm just gonna wing this one for y'all today. All right.
Yeah.
So Office Space is about Peter Gibbons. He's a fucking, 30 or late 20s-year-old white man working at a fucking brainless office job that he hates. And every day, as he says to his therapist, is the worst day of his life. Is worse than the day before. Just crushing monotony, destroying him. But in one of my favorite inciting incidents that I think is just kind of fun, he goes to a therapist, a hypnotherapist, to hypnotize him and put him under a deep state of relaxation, to which the therapist dies in the middle of, so he never comes out of it. So he starts living in the state of bliss, just not giving a fuck about his job. And it's actually surprisingly makes him more confident and more successful, which is kind of funny. But because of this, he's starts slacking off, but it kind of works out. And him and his buddies, once they find out he's getting fired, they plan a little crime scheme to rip off the company just bit by bit. And it doesn't go so well, though, and it kind of blows up in their face. But it all works out in the end. And Milton's there. Stephen Root.
Oh, yeah.
He's there, and he is like the disgruntled, grumbly little guy. And young Jennifer Aniston's there. She's just there in it. She works at Tchotchke's. She's got flair. Peter falls in love with her, kind of. But then he thought that she fucked Lumberg, which is his boss. But she fucked a different Lumberg, so it's all cool. And, mind your own business, Peter. And that's the movie, but it all works out. He ends up, the building gets burned down by Milton before their crimes are found out, so they're off the hook. And Peter changes his lifestyle. Also, his neighbor's there. I forget his name.
Who's like name? One of the greatest supporting characters of any movie ever made.
He's so good. But anyway, sorry, that's Office Space.
He's such a Office. Yeah, you Office spaced it up, dude.
Yeah,
you nailed it, man.
it's one of those movies though that it's just like the plot itself is the hypnotherapist, and then like there's like all these kind of like zany side characters. It's just about like people doing their jobs. It's very much like a Clerks type movie, but like with an actual plot and substance. Like I love Clerks, obviously. But that's more of like a chill hangout movie. Whereas this movie, it's like, it has those vibes of like just like a casual, like, oh, I'm meeting you. But it's like, it actually has what I think is a pretty, and I always forgot, is like a pretty good backbone of like a little crime dramedy in the middle.
Yeah, definitely like I love how confident they are, because his friends are like, they're in the, IT department, like they do like that kind of, I can't remember what they call themselves, but they're like in the tech.
They're like the software engineers.
The engineers, I think software engineers. Yeah, right, exactly. So like they're the ones that are like, oh yeah, we know how all the money works and how all the transactions work. And
that's still a big deal today, but back in the 90s, it was like very specific people were those kind of guys. I love
what they well, right, exactly. Yeah, now it's more broad. Because all of that, what they did,
well, computers deal with everything now. It's like
right,
it was way more niche back then.
Yeah, so back in the 90s, it was someone would physically have to come in and like look at code and shit. Like they would have to like. Now it's like all automated. Everything just is literally set up and it just sits there and it's like self-sustaining.
Yeah, so basically. IT guys out there, we can do your job for you. Okay.
Yeah, right. I got a Stack Overflow or whatever.
It's like not even that hard. Okay, I built the website. It's with Squarespace. I don't know a single fucking word of code.
I never hate Squarespace. And if Squarespace wants to sponsor us, hello.
Yeah, this is not sponsored by Squarespace, but it could be.
But anyways, it's cool. It's cool that like they can like go through and just they build, basically it's a virus that they put on to like through the company, and it just it takes some fractions of a penny
off, but of course,
Yeah,
it's just
Well, it's like-
hilarious that he fucked it up, but he doesn't even know. He's like, I must have messed up a decimal point because they wake up over the weekend having stolen like $300,000,
Yeah, right.
which
I
is
love
so
that.
good. I don't know.
Right.
There's so many. I forget because you always remember this movie. It's like I hadn't seen it in probably 10 years or something,
easy.
7 or 8 years, something like that. And I always remember, like, I remember all the beats of this movie, and even in the last episode, I was like, I remember everything about Office Space, but I don't, because I remember all the scenes, but I honestly kind of forget. Again, this movie has a strong inciting incident with a compelling, just like underlying, like, plot, and it's not a plot heavy movie, but it does hold it up in a way, like the crime angles and stuff, like it's about that, but it's not really the focus in a way.
How I'd explain this movie is it's like Falling Down mixed with like Office or mixed with like Clerks.
Yeah.
Like it's like it the whole time like it opens up and he's in traffic. And it's like, but I'm like,
literally,
but there's levity to it. Like it's relatable. In Falling Down, it's like he's like brooding and violent, and it's
Down.
there's a lot of I hate Falling Down so much, but
yes.
they're like a good comparison.
It is. I saw
fucking,
your Letterboxd comment that said Falling Down done right, and I was like, oh my god, that's like it's honestly blowing my mind because I didn't even think about that.
It's 100%. It literally, I guarantee you $1 million. I mean, I have no confirmation of this, but I guarantee you $1 million with my privilege. I can imagine that Mike Judge saw Falling Down and wrote this movie. Like
he's just like, that's a bit much.
Even though like, I understand you can argue that like in like 1990 or whenever that I'm not super familiar with Liquid Television, but anyways, he created an animation on Liquid Television, and it's literally called Office Space with Milton and the whatever Lumberg character. And if you go to r/coldest of knowledge, you can see a clip that we put up that is straight up like scene for scene, shot for shot, like a scene that happens in the movie. Like you see it like blossoming. It's like it's the scene between Milton and Lumberg when he's asking him to put his desk back, so they can put boxes in there, and it's like all the mannerisms of like the so I'm gonna need you to like do that. It's all there. It's all like blueprinted there.
Yeah.
In like
it's
whatever.
It's pretty great. It's spot on with those two characters for sure.
But it's so dope.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. It's like that's what you remember, and you do remember like Peter and all his like weird vibes and like the jump to conclusions, Matt, and everything. And
Judge, yeah. Well, and his neighbor, that Lawrence is like, he's my favorite character because he's what it's like. Before I really knew Mike Judge created like King of the Hill, I like because King of the Hill is such a good wholesome show that doesn't make fun of. It isn't like hyper like realistic in any way. It's kind of just like it's that chill. It's the cartoon that's like that doesn't use cartoon logic in any way.
Yeah.
It's just
that's why I honestly was watching this and it's like I could see this being an animated show. Just like the way it's like Mike Judge has such a just kind of like a good dry sense of humor, because honestly it's a good thing that like the script and the performances and like the dialogue works so well and the soundtrack's fucking good, because this is the most boring to look at movie of all time. Like,
dude, and it's perfect. It literally nailed that.
It fits the vibe, but it's like
dude, every aspect of it is perfect. And like so what I remember from this, I didn't see this in theaters. I saw this a few years later, or a year later or so, when it came to like VHS, and we rented it.
Right.
But it's like my dad saw it in theaters, and he was like, "This is." He's like, "It's funny, but it is." So he was like, he was doing exactly this. He like was middle management, just pushing papers. He's the one character in it that gets hit by the car. Basically. Yeah. He's that fucking guy. It's just kind of middle management where he's like, so what do you do here? And he's like, I fucking talk to the customers.
I'm a people person, okay?
I'm a people
Software
person.
engineers are not good with people.
They're not good with people. And he's like, what do you physically do? You physically take the paperwork to the customer. And he's like, no, like, dude.
Those scenes are great. Like honestly,
it was perfect though. It's like
I really enjoyed this movie.
It's satirical, but it like comes from such a like realistic point of view,
and like honestly it's surprising that this kind of movie, like the performances, like some of the delivery's like dry when it needs to be, but like some of the performances feel so natural. Like, just like one of my favorite parts probably is like there's a lot of funny just like small jokes, but it's always like those little small things that get me. Where it's just like, you know, Michael Bolton, you know, is just he's mid sentence and then he's just like PC load letter. What the fuck does that mean? You know, like,
yeah, dude.
Like, it's
yeah,
just
that
like
was great.
It's like you feel
dude,
that.
I was watching a retrospective, you know, with the cast and crew and about this movie, whatever, like a 10-year, you know, 10-year later retrospective, and it like all the it is them. It's so good. It's like this was like what Judd Apatow started doing, you know, a couple years later. Is it like it's heavily improv? There's a lot cut out, and it's like I want to find some deleted scenes.
That'd be interesting.
Like that Michael Bolton, you know, that character. He's like ruthlessly mean throughout it. Like, you know, I like how they kind of subvert that like meek nerd, and it's like he is like.
Oh, it's funny. He's like those early like internet trolls. Like, you know, for a fact in his free time he's on the message boards.
Oh, totally, dude. Yeah, no, and he totally feels like he's smarter than everybody else, but like he kind of like that. It is the mundane detail of like screwing up the decimal point, so it just like it siphons all that money off.
So good.
Yeah, happens. Like
I wish I'd see these guys in more stuff, because I do remember, like Ron Livingston, you know, the guy who plays Peter. Like, obviously everyone knows who Jennifer Aniston is, and Stephen Root. Right. Honestly, this is like probably the first movie I saw him in, but he disappears into every role. The guy who played Milton.
I know. I love Stephen Root.
Well, because now it's like he literally is a fucking chameleon and everything. It's just like I was just watching Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot Stephen Root was in this, and like every Coen Brothers movie, but
exactly. That's where I probably saw him in a Coen Brothers movie before this, but
probably, but I didn't really like click until later that I was like, oh, it's that guy. But I don't know, Ron Livingston, I feel like I liked him, and I saw him everywhere for a minute after this, because I remember he was in, like, Band of Brothers.
Oh, was he in that show? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember being like, what the fuck? Because he was, like, so serious. It was very strange. But I'm looking at his filmography right now.
Who does he play in The Conjuring?
I don't remember.
Who does he play in Adaptation? We just watched that.
Dude, I don't remember him in half of these movies. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
sorry, bro. I think that he has the perfect, like,
forgettable face.
Forgettable. Just like, just that, you know, like, you know, oh my God. Conventionally attractive white man that kind of does drift through. It's like, you know,
I sort of remember him in The Cooler. Anyway,
his 5 o'clock shadows, amazing.
It is good. Yeah, I feel like, because honestly, I said it before, but I don't know why this time. The thing that stood out to me this time, like I said, it's like I forgot how much of like a crime story this is. Like, just like a cute little blue collar crime story, but like, I love the idea of the inciting incident essentially being someone getting stuck in hypnosis. I think that's such a great idea for like that could kick off like a drastic change in someone's life to like be a catalyst for all this stuff. Because I've never seen that. I'm like, why doesn't people use that in other things, like stuff like that? Like, that's great. It's just like he dies. He's like, okay, you're gonna remain in this relaxed state until I snap my fingers, and then he fucking kills over and dies. That's beautiful. I don't know. It's just like, I feel like the stuff that they injected, because speaking of like short films being blown out into a feature length, this was Milton, and the vibe is obviously comes from the animation, but this movie, they like actually injected in more of like the plot, which again, it's not plot heavy, but it's just like, it's such a good backbone for the movie that I feel like that stuff really adds to it to like make it feel like a whole more fleshed out thing, and like a good tight quick movie, because by the time it's going along, it never wears out its welcome. You know?
Right, exactly. And I think it's because he casts out that net of characters. So like every scene you're almost kind of meeting somebody new.
Yeah.
And then you have your like characters that you've met the previous scene, but you're meeting somebody new. And so every single scene you're like yeah, cool, that's funny. I get to laugh at her. Like the fucking lady who's like, now Milton, pass the cake. Like even just her, you're like, oh, she's funny.
The
Like it's funny that it's
side characters are even good.
Side characters, right? And that, like, dude, everyone at fucking Tchotchkes.
The guy Brian with all the flair at Tchotchkes, like he has like 2 lines, but he's one
his
I can
energy.
For some reason, he's the main guy that I saw and was like, I can picture him animated in the style of King of the Hill, like, you know, like super over the top, and then like you look at you two, and he's like, I don't know, it's ridiculous. This whole movie is silly, but it's I don't know. Mike Judge is a fun guy. It's have you seen most of Mike Judge's other movies? I wonder what he's been doing.
See, that's what sucks. Is like I barely remember Idiocracy. I like watched it on like Comedy Central, you know, so that doesn't really quite count.
I watched it somewhat recently, and it's still pretty it's pretty funny.
Dude,
still holds up.
I want to watch it again. People meme it constantly, and so, you know.
Yeah, especially more and more. I wonder what he's working on. Because it's like the last movie I remember him making was like Extract.
Yeah, dude, no, and that was like 2009 or some shit, right?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
And it was weird. I did not like it. So I need to watch it again. I remember, like, I guess I just didn't really, I wasn't for me. No. I mean, even though, like, this movie isn't necessarily for me, but
it felt like him kind of wandering and not doing his own thing. Like, it felt like him trying to do what was popular.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it did feel like, honestly, him trying to be like, oh, everyone, those Judd Apatow movies are making a lot of money. Like, or I want to make something like that.
I feel like it was like a Arrested Development knockoff. I mean, because it had his bucket
Jason
in it?
Bateman.
Yeah, Jason Bateman. Thank you. It's like because he was in that, and maybe I was just watching a lot of Arrested Development around the time, but
yeah. Well, I had the same thing. I should rewatch it and give it another chance because I do remember liking some stuff about it, but I don't remember enough. It didn't stick with me like, you know, King of the Hill, Beavis and Butthead, fucking Office Space, and so forth. Idiocracy. I don't know if he's even really done anything since then.
Well, he lives a lot in.
He literally hasn't made a
animation.
movie. He hasn't directed a movie since Extract.
Oh wow!
Which was 2009.
Yeah, damn.
Which is a shame. I wonder what his writing credits are.
Yeah. He must. Yeah, I mean, I guarantee you he's working.
He does shows. He's done episodes of like Silicon Valley and stuff.
Oh, that's right. Wasn't that his show? I thought he developed that.
I think so, probably. I haven't really watched it, so I couldn't really tell you with any authority. But
I liked it.
Weird.
I haven't not.
This is weirding me out right now. I don't know why. I thought Mike Judge, because he's a pretty prominent name in the field of like comedy. Obviously, because of his television and his films, but he's only made 3 films.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Like 3 feature films.
Well, what about he didn't direct the Beavis and Butthead,
the new one? Oh, the Do America.
The Do America, and then
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't see it on here.
Weird. Well, I don't know. He does have Beavis and Butthead credited from 1993 to 2011. So
that's true. The show, but it might be just like characters based on. I don't know. Yeah, right. I think Mike Judge it's like they have that new Beavis and Butthead show now, which I've not watched any of. It probably sucks, but who knows? But it's like I feel like Mike Judge deserves his chance because now I'm looking at it and I feel like did Extract tank his career? Because I don't remember anyone really liking Extract. I remember everyone was like, that was fine. I don't know. I feel like honestly, like looking back, he should have been. I don't know, bigger? Or he's big, but without a huge filmography? It's weird. Because, again, this and Idiocracy were pretty huge. And I'm still surprised that this won. I didn't think this was going to win, but I guess it's pretty popular. But not that many people commented, so who knows? I don't know what people like anymore, Jordan.
I know.
I don't know
it really doesn't like... Oh, yeah, I mean, I just looked at our new poll for this movie, and I'm like, okay, I see that. You picked some good movies.
I started because we're not even talking about Office Space.
I know. There's like basically what Office Space turns into is like, it's such a simple type movie that like all it really turns into is like, oh, I really liked this scene, and so I don't know. Because I have like the one trivia I got, which is really cute. is Milton's red stapler was built by the props department, and it was so popular that like Schwingline or whatever the fuck they're called, they started putting it into production.
Really? I was gonna say I've used one of those staplers, but they came after the movie.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's a fun factoid,
cool.
buddy.
Right,
That is a good fact.
It's a fun little fact.
Yeah.
Like that. There we go. How much that eat up the rest of the time? What do we got? We got another like 30 minutes to fill.
Where I'm trying to think where at in Jennifer Aniston's filmography she was, because like obviously she was famous coming off of Friends, so that was a get.
Did Friends end at this time? I don't know anything. No. I thought they were like 2000s.
Friends went into the 2000s for sure. Because I remember seeing something about how Friends takes place in New York, but then like they never acknowledged 9/11 when it happened.
Oh, wild!
And they're insane. Like they're just living this weird dissonance.
That is really trippy. Why would
it's just like they live in New York when it was airing in 2001, and they just like never brought it up.
Maybe I guess they were just on the other side of the bridge or something, right?
I don't know. I think it'd be funny if like in the background there was still a bunch of stuff about it, and then they're just so self-centered that they just didn't even realize it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that would work.
That's funny.
Something else that's fun is Judd Apatow plays Stan. He plays the character Stan, her boss. From
Judd Apatow.
Yeah,
that goofy looking.
Not Judd Apatow. Mike Judge. God, dude,
I infected you. I'm sorry.
Why you did. You brought it upon me.
I know. But I know what you meant too when you said it. I didn't because I know what Judd Apatow looks like.
Yeah, he was like a on-set character. They like literally just came up with him in shooting, and so they were like, "Oh, let's do this character." And so he played him, and he's great.
That
he
makes
has some
sense.
great lines.
He's got the perfect like timid eye roll, but like. We need to talk if you're just someone that wants to do the bare minimum.
I know the bare minimum. I do, and I love. Oh my god, dude! Everything about this. So it's like have you ever had an office job? Have you?
I've never had an office job, but I've always worked in retail. So it's like there's still a lot there.
Right. That's the tchotchke side of it.
Yeah.
With retail, where he's just kind of like all right, well you're complying, but you're not going that extra mile. Like, it's
like fuck you.
And it totally is. That's how it works.
No,
with
that,
like companies
that hurts me.
Oh, if you want to, it's like if you upsell that, like fucking, because I've worked some corporate coffee shops and they're like, upsell the extra shot or whipped cream or some bullshit, and you're like nickel and diming people, and it's like, okay, we get it, And so that part, like that's what really I love. And then I've worked kind of an office job, but I've never worked like a. Yeah, it wasn't a suit. It was in LA. I worked for a production company. It was like a production. I was an office PA, so it's not anywhere. It's not anywhere near the same. But it's still like that office environment. But it's clearly not corporate. I didn't have to wear a tie or anything. But it's like I've never done. I couldn't do like a cubicle tie in a cubicle, dude.
No, never. You wanna hear a fun fact I just remembered that I remembered while watching the movie? So. I actually, one of the early film projects, because I really liked this movie when I saw it in like junior high, which I think was the first time I saw it. I might have watched it with like my dad or someone earlier, but I saw it in junior high and thought it was pretty funny. And so I had remade with my first shitty camera, I had redone one of the scenes with Camel, and we just did the whole thing in camera editing.
Yeah.
It was the scene I played Peter and he played Lawrence, where he's like, does anyone ever, when you're not feeling so good on a Monday and everyone ever say to you, it looks like someone has a case of the Mondays? He's like, no, man. Hell no.
Oh, yeah.
No. I believe so. You get your ass kicked. You said that.
Yeah.
Like, what would you do with $1 million? 2 chicks at the same time, like that whole scene. And so as I was watching it, God, I wish I had that still, because it was great. Because Camel's pretty good in it, and it's just funny because he just does that delivery good, and it's just Camel,
Yeah,
he's just like, he's like, I wish it existed. There might be somewhere, because I did upload it once upon a time in my old family computer, so I actually might have a disc somewhere that has all my old, really shitty short films from junior high. I'm gonna see if I can find it, because I think I have it somewhere. I'm gonna see if I can find it and upload it.
And speaking of in-camera editing, this movie, Office Space. That welcome everybody. We're talking about
Shut up.
Office Spaced.
They did not in-camera edit it.
No, I know they fucking did not
Can you
in-camera
imagine?
edit it, but it's fully edited on a computer. It's fully edited digitally.
It's pretty impressive for 99.
So-
They weren't doing that too much.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't the norm per se. It was fairly popular in the late 90s, but it's like wild to like, and it's all like 100% on a computer. That is the rarity. Like, you know, a lot of movies they'd be like cut together rough and then put, you know, digitally transcribed and then fine tuned to there and then put back onto film. But this movie like was all just uploaded, cut, and then put to film.
That's fun.
So that's fun. Pretty cool.
That is interesting. That's a fun.
These facts.
Here we go,
don't flow.
guys. We're talking about
This
Office
movie-
Space, everybody.
It's gonna be our shortest podcast yet.
Here we are.
She's like,
talking about Office Space,
you would think
directed
it'd
by
be
Mike
a
Judge.
movie. Yeah, Michaelis Judgen directed a film called Office Space in 1999, and he filmed this with his friends.
You know what?
Before-
We're all
Yeah.
friends when we watch this. It's the friends you made along the way.
Yeah. Speaking of friends, this movie stars Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. Yep.
And she plays a really interesting character. She's not quite. I mean, you know, she's attractive. She's a heartthrob, but she's not quite like the tease that you would expect. She's, you know, just kind of going along with life.
Yeah,
She goes to the barbecue, which is a really funny scene.
Dude,
The
barbecue-
O-face guy, dude. Oh my god.
Honestly, that barbecue was the best depiction I've ever seen of a barbecue in my life. Because it's like, you know, you see barbecues in movies and TV shows, and there's like this extra panazz to them. But it's really
Like,
barbecues
no-
are just like in some dude's backyard that has that giant like gas silo right in the middle of the film.
Right.
Like,
It's not, and that dude, that's like a Mike Judge like staple.
Yeah.
He gets like fucking suburbia down so well.
Oh yeah.
Everything he makes, it just feels so lower, like middle class.
Well, it's weird, yeah, because it's like it's not full
perfect.
suburban. It's like small town suburban. It's still suburbia, but it's like suburbia as it's creeping into rural areas.
Right.
Which is fucking great because I've been to a barbecue as a child that looked identical to that. Like I feel like I was at that barbecue in 1999 as an 8-year-old boy. Because it's like, I swear to God, it's just like the most plainest backyard. People just standing around with a couple beers. There's like burgers, but they're not coming out on time. And then there's like that giant silo behind. Which I'm sure it is not what they're actually called, but you know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Right, whatever it is.
I don't know. But
Water runoff,
I've
acid.
been there. And
Yeah.
that's pretty fun. So Office Space, we're talking about Office Space.
And welcome
Hold on.
back.
I got
So,
one Reddit. I got
Office
one
Space.
Reddit.
Oh wow, we actually have a Reddit. Okay, what is it? Lay it on me.
Well, it was the most popular one, so I thought we'd have more. But I got one Reddit. It said, I didn't think this movie was that funny until I got an office job and rewatched it after. Suddenly, all the jokes made sense. Yep.
Yeah. Thanks. No, that was great.
Robbie 529. That is true
Robbie-
because you know what?
Robbie 529. Thanks, dude.
I feel
and
like
that,
being
more power to you.
just being a cynical kind of person, because it's like everyone in this movie is like shown to be like outwardly oblivious and annoying and just kind of like just exemplify these like horrible characteristics. And Peter and Michael and Samir and them, we see that world through their eyes, but it's like if you're that kind of person that all you do is notice all these annoying people, like that chick that just keeps repeating the same thing all day when she answers the phone in the exact same tone.
That is and that's such an office. That lady,
Yeah.
she's living that like she's a dreamer in her head.
Yeah.
Like she's writing novels.
She doesn't realize that
and
all what
just
she's
like,
saying,
yeah.
her body is on
No.
full autopilot.
Yeah, she's definitely like, what is that, like, get transcended, or
Uh-huh.
she's outside of her body,
She's
just like
having an
floating
outer body
around.
experience.
Yeah, dude. And that is like what it comes down to when you like do a robotic job, or like, yeah, you have something you've learned so well that it like you just can space out and create stories and like, you know.
So I guess two things, and they might be the same thing, but I'm just skipping ahead because fuck it. I want to know what your favorite part was, and then what your favorite joke or a new joke that you realized this time that really tickled your funny bone.
Okay. I mean, my favorite any time he's with Lawrence.
Yeah.
I think Lawrence is like the perfect character,
and he's just in it just enough.
Like, well, exactly. I would, yeah. It's like him
with
as a
all the
full
characters. They don't overplay any of the characters. It's great.
Right. And I'll like reiterate that like every scene there's a new character. Like I almost like I'm like now I want to go back and rewatch it and see if like swear to God like every scene, unless it's like I mean you count like them in the car and stuff, just like those characters together. But every time I like cuts in the office or like anywhere, you meet somebody new and it's really cool. And I love that whole aspect of it. And Lawrence is such a perfectly written character. You get him enough, and he's just like got it. He's a middle. He's a dude. It's like that's what he does so well. Mike Judge makes just that middle America, you know, just blue collar man. That's like he's not super disgusting. Like he doesn't want to do like weird things with like young women or something. I don't know. He's like two chicks at the same time. He's just simple. It's like he's like it's simple. It's not super like grotesque.
Well,
so it's like
the fact that he's just like. That. Hey, it's the boob exam on Channel 9, you know.
I know, and I love it. No, but what makes that scene well-rounded and not him just disgusting. I mean, I'm like, you know, he clearly is disgusting, but he's not super like misogynistic.
No, you could go way over the extreme with it. Like a lesser person would make it like this way crazier thing when it's just like it's.
He goes. Look at her. You know, they're watching it, and he goes. Doesn't that look like Anne or what? His girlfriend. and he's like, yes, it does. That's very awkward. He's just like, I thought you wanted to know or whatever. That's so good.
All this stuff.
That is one of the best, dude. And that's a new joke for me. I don't remember that at all. Yeah. And so when he goes, doesn't that kind of look like her? Oh my God, that's so.
All the reactions, dude. Talking about. And to him, they're just like, I think I get the feeling she's cheating on me, and they're like, yeah, I get that feeling too. It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
But the look on everyone's face, they're like, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love how it's like, I love how he's aware of it, but he's looking for that like that.
Someone be like, no, you're crazy, get out of here.
Right. Yeah. Everybody is kind of like, yeah, man.
The best Lawrence bit for sure is after would be like the low point of the movie where everyone's like, oh, we're gonna get caught, we're gonna go to prison, we're here talking about prison, and they leave, and he's like, hey Lawrence, you want to come over, man? He's like, no man, I don't want you fucking up my life too.
yeah, that's great. Like the one time he's like, he knows how he seems like a risky guy, but he's also like, no man, I'm not getting caught up in like, because that's white collar crime. He's like, I don't want to get caught up in that.
It's funny. Is that your favorite part, or just that joke?
That was a joke. That was a joke that I didn't even know about, and then watching
there's so many subtle, small jokes in this, and that's what I really appreciate.
Yeah, and it's like I think I've have an appreciation every time I watch it for like different things about characters, like the O-face guy. When I was younger, I thought it was funny because you know, because it's like he's saying sexual jokes and they're funny. But now I'm like, no, he's just like he's the caricature of a human being. Like it's great. His glasses are the funniest.
He literally looks like my like Gatlin's dad did in the early 2000s, like like the frosted spike hair and like those glasses. They're like
those glasses, dude, with like they're like wraparound glasses.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
This movie is a time capsule for sure.
Oh yeah, it's great, dude. Like, and it's got a great soundtrack. Like honestly, like all the good like Scarface and like Ghetto Boys. Like I don't know. It's like for some reason like it really stands out to the type of movie it is too. Like I don't know. It's almost weird that this has like a pretty like several. There's like 4 hard gangster rap songs in this movie. You would feel like one would be like, that's a joke. Like obviously when like the iconic scene of like when they're the stills playing by Ghetto Boys and they're smashing up the printer, which is great.
That's a solid scene. I appreciated at the beginning. It's like it's more of a subtle commentary that has existed forever, but it's kind of cool that like 99. It's like he's on the pulse is when he's singing that rap song, and then like the black guy walks by and he like locks the door and turns the music down. And it's just like you're like, oh, okay,
because he's going so hard, but he's like the whitest man imaginable.
Yeah. Oh, right, and it's like, oh, man, yeah, that's got layers to it, but it's like not it clearly isn't a social commentary movie. This movie isn't really trying to say anything just to that extent where it's like, look at this,
It is, but it's an interesting point though, because it's like he does kind of, Mike Judge does it in that way that is kind of interesting, because even like the one other black guy in the movie that comes and used to work there, and he's like pretending he's addicted to crack, which is like obviously like the stereotype, but then he's like, no, I'm just fucking, like, I just do that to get more like sympathy, like from like play on your white guilt, you know what I mean?
Exactly, 100%,
and then he even does, he's like, wait, you're not going to tell anyone about this, and he scams them into buying like a ton of magazine subscriptions.
Yeah,
it's good because he keeps it just surface enough, you know what I mean? But it's just like he's not trying to, I don't know, it's like used well as for comedy. You know, joke I caught this time that fucking tickled my funny bone, that rattled me.
What's that?
Because it's like I remember all the jokes, or I felt like I did, but the one that got me is Milton's. It cuts and it's like Milton. They're in the office and Milton's on the phone and he's just like incessantly complaining about like his stapler and about his.
I was like, and isn't he on the phone with Peter?
It pans over and he's talking to Peter and Peter's like, okay, Milton, yep. It's like,
yeah. Well, I love it. I love that like
they
Peter's
never
like
interact.
Nice to Milton.
They never interact like in the whole movie, but it's just like it's just I never realized it's like
they're
Milton's talking to him like he could have just been talking to anyone. It's hilarious. Anyone who will listen, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
That for some reason watching that late at night, because I watched Office Space at 3:30 in the morning. When I was up,
appropriate.
I couldn't fall back asleep, and I was feeding my newborn baby, and I was just like, I'm gonna watch Office Space because Mary kept saying she was gonna watch it with me. Like she's like, I'll watch it. I like Office Space, and then every time I was like, do you want to watch Office Space tonight? It's like no. Did it like 3 times, and I said, fuck it.
It is funny. Victoria liked it too. Like it's like, a simple,
nice.
Easy movie to watch. Like
there's not a lot to like not like about it. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like most people are like, yeah, it's fine.
It's silly. I mean, that's like, the most you could dislike, I guess, is like, it just is, kind of just mundane in what it does. It's like the jokes don't try too hard, but like for me, I like they land. I don't know, all of them are like.
They land.
Every character is interesting and funny. But do you want to throw a Travis on there? I can give a quick. The money minute's pretty easy.
Yeah, lay it on me.
The budget was 10 mil, and then they only grossed 11 million. So.
See, it's interesting because it's like this feels VHS, like a cult classic. Oh yeah, that's a good
100%. That's the thing. I'm like,
this movie thrived at the home video, man. For sure.
Right, exactly. Because it's like what the Money Minute. I'm just like, I'm hitting you with box office. That's it.
I own 2 DVD copies of Office Space.
Of Office Space, right?
Literally,
I own the one where he's covered in Post-it notes.
Yeah, I have one. I think I might have 3, dude. I own one. And then Mary owned one when True Love is when we combined our DVD collection. And so
that's when you're going to be together forever.
I sold one because I was like, well, how do we have 2 of these? There's a couple movies we had 2 of, but that was definitely one of them. Anyway, so I got Travis's voicemail ready. You hear? You ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's see if
lock and load, baby.
All right.
Hey guys, Office Space is probably one of my top 10 favorite comedies. I've seen it so many times on Comedy Central that it never seems to get old. For me, the coworker Drew is hilarious with his vulgar comments and gossip. I wish he had a spin-off movie. And how the neighbors communicate through the walls is pretty funny. Comedy is so subjective that it's impossible to find something that everyone can agree is funny. Today I tried to think of my favorite comedy movies and came up with these titles in order of release: Blazing Saddles, Airplane, Vacation, Coming to America, CB4, Zoolander, Tropic Thunder, and the Vacation remake. What are your guys' top comedy movies that you never get tired of? And have you seen all on my list? Thanks.
Thanks, Travis.
Oh, Travis, it's a meaty question, bud.
Good.
I need a. You have like a transcription of the list. I gotta read through it.
I didn't.
I think I'm pretty sure I've seen everything on that list except for Vacation Remake.
I have not seen the Vacation Remake.
Vacation Remake question mark?
Is it good?
Is it with that?
I'm pretty sure like Jason Sudeikis is Sudeikis. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm pretty sure that's it. But he's the main guy in that because I remember when that came out and I've been like, that looked unfortunate. But is it good? I'm interested, Travis, because
Travis liked it, huh?
I have an idea of what kind of movies you like, and so So he said Blazing Saddles, which yes, we covered on the show.
We have our pod. Go listen to that.
Airplane, of course, which it's awesome because those are all really excellent satires or the spoofs even.
The lampoons.
Yeah, Vacation, Coming to America. Have you seen that?
Yeah, Coming to America is great, dude.
See, I don't know what he said. He's going to have to say it because I might have to play it again, but the transcript is obviously wrong because it just translates audio. It says CB4. I don't know what that is. So, and I couldn't understand it when he said it.
Coming to America.
CB4, which is what this says. You know that classic movie, CB4?
CB4, yeah.
Zoolander.
Maybe you're talking about Short Circuit? That movie got me in stitches.
Yeah. Zoolander, Tropic Thunder, and then the Vacation remake. You know what I've not seen?
Is CB4?
Yeah, CB4. I've not seen Zoolander.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen scenes, and I've seen all the memes.
The memes.
But when it came out, I'm just too edgy, dude. I'm too hard. When Zoolander came out and everyone was obsessed with it, I'm like, that's fucking stupid. Okay?
Oh, well, dude, I was in like a Ben Stiller. I probably watched like 3 Ben Stiller movies in preparation to go see Zoolander, and then same with Tropic Thunder, dude. Tropic Thunder is a fucking strong
Tropic Thunder
movie.
Is a good movie.
That is like Ben Stiller knows what he's doing when it comes to comedy.
Stiller knows, yeah, dude, because fucking Cable Guy, because didn't he direct the Cable Guy?
Yeah, he directed Cable Guy. He directed, dude, Reality Bites. Did you ever see that?
Oh yeah,
I don't know if he directed. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if he directed it, but it's got his like stink all over it.
Ben Stiller is he's a surprisingly good man. I don't know. He does it well.
I would compare. I like comparing things today. It kind of works out. I would compare. Ben Stiller would be like a Mike Myers mixed with like Noah Baumbach. Like he has like he can do that like humility, but then he's also got like where Mike Myers has some like pretty spitfire jokes. With Mike Myers it kind of feels cringy.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller doesn't feel cringy.
Well, Ben Stiller is probably most known for being like it's such a goofball, like the Mike Myers comparison. But like it's funny because it's like he can also
he's really not either.
No, like he's definitely.
Yeah. It's kind of more. They got Adam Sandler energy to him. A little bit more.
Well, and it's funny because it's like he's in the Noah Baumbach movies. He's in like 3 of them. So. Yeah,
that's probably why. Yeah, because it's like he plays those characters really well.
He's great in fucking the Meyerowitz stories, like I was saying. So.
And he's good in Greenberg. So it's like
So the other part of Travis's question, it was, what is your top comedy movies you never get tired of?
Dude.
Do you know what my favorite comedy is of all time? Can you guess it? We've covered it on the podcast.
Oh, fuck. Really?
Yeah. I think so. Now I'm tripping. I'm sure to God we have. Yeah, we have.
Time to Kill. Yeah.
Time to Kill.
Yeah.
How'd you know? No, it's Dr. Strangelove is mine.
Oh, duh. Okay. But that's hard, dude, because it's like...
Dr. Strangelove is hilarious.
That's not... Yes.
It's supposed to be hilarious. It is a comedy.
Oh my god! But when he says comedy, does Dr. Strangelove, is that really the first thing that comes to your mind?
Yeah, dude. Dr. Strangelove.
Okay, bud.
It's not like a.
It's not.
Comedies
are
not
hard.
Like comedies are hard.
That's what I mean. With Dr. Strangelove, it's funnier now, but I would say like Tommy Boy. You know, I'm thinking more because like the list he just gave off, those are like strictly comedies, which you know, I would. Dr. Strangelove is a comedy.
I searched best comedies of all time, and you know what the top 5 are?
Yeah, what are the top 5?
Well, that like popped up first.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
If they're not. I don't know how they're ranked, but Office
what's
Space,
cool?
Monty Python and the Holy Grail,
Oh yeah, classic.
Big Lebowski, Doctor Strangelove,
Okay.
and Spaceballs.
Oh, weird. That's a weird list.
It is weird.
Like, because it's like Big Lebowski is Big Lebowski and Doctor Strangelove. I don't put those in like strict comedy categories.
Same.
You know, it's like when we did comedies and fucking.
Comedy's hard, dude. Comedy's a hard genre. Like,
it is a hard genre. It's like you kind of know it when you see it, but there's also so many movies that could be.
Mary's always like, she always is complaining about how I always want to watch like movies that are like too dark or something. And she's like, can't we just watch something light for once?
Like a laugh out loud comedy of In Bruges.
That was about to say it was my other favorite comedy.
In Bruges, dude. Why go listen to our podcast In Bruges, the funniest comedy we've ever watched. That's my answer.
Comedies are hard, but honestly, my favorite comedy, like just strictly only comedy, is Wayne's World.
Oh, really? Okay.
I really grew up on it. It's like pretty dumb, but
Tommy Boy is what I watched Tommy Boy like
Tommy Boy's amazing.
Once a week for like 4 years. So
Tommy Boy's amazing, but something about that movie is just like the absurdity of it. Like I realized as I got older, I really like absurd comedies.
Yeah, and early like I just mentioned his name. He So I Married an Axe-Murderer. Like I only saw that like once, and then Victoria loves that movie, and every time we watch it, I'm just like I crack up, dude. There's so many parts in it that I'm like, oh my god, that's like really funny, and so yeah. I don't know. And even like, dude, like the first Austin Powers, like,
dude, Austin Powers is surprisingly solid.
Yeah, it's like it like got torn apart, but if you watch it now, it's like it's got some good gags. It's totally up in the. Yeah, see that's the thing. I don't.
Clerks. It's hard because it's not the first thing you think of.
Clerks was probably my favorite thing.
I love Clerks, but it took me reading a list to be like, oh yeah, Clerks.
But I wouldn't. Yeah, Clerks is not a movie that I'm like, oh, dude, you guys want to watch? Well, I don't know, kind of, I guess. But it's like, it's not a slap in your leg comedy. I'm not going to Clerks.
It's like
for,
a litmus test, though. Like somebody who likes Clerks, I feel like I'm gonna get a read on them as a person, like what they like.
Right.
Versus, for example, because now I'm just looking at a list. Versus, like, for example, like Talladega Nights. You know what I mean? Which is fine in its own right, but it's like a totally different. Sure. But that's what you're thinking of when you think of comedies. Is like course. Something.
And even that's kind of what Travis. Travis is our everyman. He knows. He totally has his list of movies. They all fall in that like strict category of comedy.
You got to see this list, dude. The laugh out loud comedy being John Malkovich. It's on here.
See, yeah. No, and that's the thing. No,
super bad, good.
Oh, see, super bad, yeah. All of Judd Apatow's are like they're not the first thing I think of as comedy, but they're a little closer to that. But it's more like absurdism instead of comedy. But dude, do you know what I get mad about? And you have known this about me forever. Is every single Wes Anderson movie that's ever come out is released. It was released in the Blockbuster in the comedy section. And my whole life growing up, going to see Wes Anderson's new movie and rent it from the Blockbuster, it was in the fucking comedy section. And I was like, these aren't comedies.
Yeah, but they are.
But like tracks like a Clerks. I know. And that's what's so frustrating. Is like,
I was going to say, because
I know about like Francis Ha, you put that in the comedy section?
I don't know. That's
I mean, I guess, yeah. It's like you put Royal Tenenbaums in the comedy?
Some of the best...
I got suicide in it. Like,
dude, Royal Tenenbaums, I just rewatched Royal Tenenbaums recently. And it's hilarious, but holy shit, it's also like deeply... God, that movie.
Of course it's funny, but it's like Shakespearean.
It's not Royal Tenenbaums is amazing.
Royal Tenenbaums is a solid movie, and
but I wouldn't. Punch Drunk Love, which I said is my favorite. It's like my favorite, like romantic comedy. I was naming romantic comedies to my wife, and she was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like those are romantic comedies.
I know, yeah, you're like Phantom Thread, like my favorite.
Yeah, Phantom Thread.
It really is, though. It really is like Antichrist. Like those are all like love stories. Like
Fucking Antichrist. Good lord. You know what comedy I really liked originally? Now we're just on a rant.
Yeah, no, what is the house that Jack built? Like I can't think of.
When I was 14, I really liked Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Me too.
But
Harold and Kumar was funny,
and it's
comedy.
It holds up because it's a stoner comedy, and it's kind of fun.
That's the thing. Yeah. Well, I guess I would give that the the subcategory of like stoner comedy or college humor. But I don't know, man. Comedy is a tricky. It's a
hard one. It's honestly, in my opinion, it's probably the hardest genre. Because I would say horror is pretty subjective, but it's like you always know what is a horror movie, or at least what has heavy horror themes.
Yeah, and see that's the thing. It's like comedies can't just have something funny in them to be a comedy. Thus, a Wes Anderson, I get frustrated because it's
correct. There's a lot of great movies with amazing comedy in them.
It's like, how about this then? My a fucking Midsummer is not a horror then. It has one horrific thing that happens, and then, or two, I guess technically, and then it's like two bouts of horror, and then the rest is like coming of age. And so it's like, whatever, you're gonna call it a coming of age movie, are you?
You know, what comedy I really liked that Travis hated was A Wet Hot American Summer, but that was when I really learned that I like those weird absurdist comedies though, and I think that's why I like Wayne's World.
Well, see, and I would say, Travis, your list is like, I mean, it's solid. It's great because your list is it branches
and
really far.
And they're actual comedies.
Right. That helps a lot too. But it's like it's cool because you're going from like, what was 70 something from Blazing Saddles to like present time, and so it's like, pretty cool.
Okay,
they're great too.
I'm done after this, but you know who does the best comedy, but their movies are not, I would consider, not exactly comedies? Is Edgar Wright.
Yeah,
I just watched. Yeah, because I just watched.
Yeah, that's tricky. But I would
Shaun
say
of the Dead the other day.
Right.
And it is a comedy. It's a lot of other things as well as a comedy, but holy shit, it's fucking funny. And the way that I don't know. I've talked about this before when we talked. Did we ever do an Edgar Wright movie?
We did.
Last Night in Soho.
Oh, Last Night in Soho. Thanks. Yeah. I was like, no, it wasn't Baby Driver.
Well, because it's like the way he cuts. Like he uses not even just editing, but like camera movements to do comedy in a way that isn't really done these days. Like
comedic timing.
For example, Office Space. Everyone, we're talking about Office Space.
Welcome back now.
Office Space relies entirely on the dialogue and the delivery of the dialogue.
And that is like the Judd Apatow version of the comedy that we see today.
That's right. It's like it's shot incredibly boring, but it relies on that. Whereas Edgar Wright is like the comedy's baked into the filmmaking.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Dr. Strangelove still my answer. Fuck off.
I mean, no. I'm not gonna say you're wrong.
It's a hard one.
It's just not the first thing I would think of when someone says comedy. But then when people say Dr. Strangelove, I think about it and I'm like, it's hilarious. Yeah. I crack my shit up constantly when he talks about his purities.
It's a good war movie. I know, right? It's a good war movie and a good satire, in general. Yeah. Which satires do not always have to be comedies. You know what I mean?
No.
So anyway, I'm done talking about this.
We got our hour in.
What are we doing? But I feel like we're missing something amongst all that, though. We did Travis's. We did the.
I mean, if you like this, watch this. Which we've been talking comedies.
We talked about so many other movies.
Yeah, there's several that you can
Clerks. Watch. I mean, workplace comedies. I mean, I feel like Clerks.
Yeah, Clerks.
I think this may be closer to like Clerks 2, maybe.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah, Clerks is like angstier. This is like Clerks 2 is definitely them like, oh, look at us in our job, boring job.
And it's like also a little bit wackier, just a bit. So,
yeah. Wow.
Anyway, so thanks for putting up with us. I hope at least, I laughed a lot, so I'm happy. Even though it was kind of a disaster.
So there's 30 minutes of Office Space and then half hour. That's just
so
going on.
We're going to we're moving away from comedies entirely here. We're moving away from all
I'm happy.
that.
This feels good. I'm like the
It's
90 minutes. They're good. They're light. They're fluffy. Now I'm ready to like bite into some of the meteor films.
Yes. Next month we're watching, and it's interesting because this is the first time for the podcast that we've technically repeated a genre, because we have done thriller before we did the podcast, back when it was just film.
Right. That doesn't count.
Now, but I want to go back and find what movies we watched, because I only remember one of them, and I'm not going to repeat those.
I think I might have a list of it, but anyways,
I'm sure we do somewhere, because the only movie I remember for sure we watched, which is the epitome for me of like maybe the best thriller of all time, is Martin Scorsese's Cape Fear.
Cape Fear, right?
Is incredible. So, but for this month, so we're doing thrillers in general. I started for the first poll. I started kind of earlier in the life cycle of thrillers to kind of. I'm gonna go kind of chronologically forward see
you're
how
all like
it's
50s, 60s, and 70s. It's awesome. Yeah.
So the next one I'm gonna do like 80s and 90s thrillers, and then I'll go into like the more modern thrillers for the last few, and I think that will start getting us in the mode for Halloween coming up because then we're gonna just do straight horror movies, obviously. Yeah, we thought about going with zany comedies, but we just can't nail it down. So
we can't nail it down. But no, I like this. I like going thriller than horror because like that is the fine line that we were talking about. Like thrillers are completely different, but yet you can have like there are horrific thrillers. There's horror.
I'm interested to talk about it as it goes along because what I would think of as thrillers is like shit like Seven. But that's completely different than like the thrillers of the yesteryear, which the movie, I'm assuming a one I didn't look, but the movie we were watching next week is the master of suspense himself, right?
Yes.
Which is this Alfred
our
Hitchcock's
first
Vertigo?
Vertigo. Is this our first Hitchcock?
Yeah, I think so.
He's been on the poll before, obviously, because he's fucking,
add this to the list of shit we got to watch in October. We should rewatch Psycho. I was actually thinking we should watch, or for our trilogy, Psycho 1, 2, and 3, maybe. Because Psycho 2 is actually really good. Maybe at least just 1 and 2, because Psycho 3 sucks. But
we should, because I've never seen the sequel, and like the first one is fucking
Psycho 2 is surprisingly solid. So next week we're watching Vertigo, starting with the suspense, and I'm fucking ready for it, because every movie I put on this week's poll I've not seen. So I've not seen Vertigo, but I watched North by Northwest last week, and so I'm in the mood. I'm ready.
And I'm sad High and Low didn't win, but whatever.
Did you vote for that?
Yeah, of course.
So did I.
And then the French Connection, I want
to see them all. I want to see them all.
I know, yeah. Well, we're gonna have to start with Vertigo, bud.
I know.
And then appreciate everybody, all of our patrons. You're amazing. Kisses, hugs. I love you all. If you want to participate like Travis did, and like other people have in the past, feel free to give us a phone call or go straight to voicemail. You can dial 801-613-1501. You'll be able to call us and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for bearing with us. Check out the Reddit. Watch the movie next week. Give us your thoughts. Thanks, y'all.
Join us. Praise Cinema.
Praise it be.